What's up everybody, it's Carl, aka Carl Drum Tech, and today let's sit down and have a conversation about unity and coming together in your marching arts program. Cue the music. Alright, if you guys are new to my channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. It's the red button down below that says subscribe. That way you are notified anytime I put out a new video in regards to the martial arts, marching bands, drum lines, percussion, drum corps, all that good stuff. Make sure you subscribe so you are notified anytime I bust out a new video. Also, make sure that notification bell is ringing. That way you are the first to be notified anytime I drop a new video. So hit that subscribe button, make sure that notification bell is ringing, and let's get to the video. So somebody asked me, hey Carl, I'm starting out as a new percussion caption head, and me and the band director were talking, and we wanted to kind of promote unity within the different sections so that we can build unity within the entire ensemble, right? So as far as like my experience, like when I was in marching band, I think hyping as a section is a good thing. I think that when you have unity within different sections, it makes things very fun. I think it's a really great experience to have that camaraderie within just your section, right? So I was in the drumline, so I was very close to my other drumline students, and the only thing I would caution against is like if you don't overdo it, right? So don't overdo that camaraderie within the section to where you start to separate yourself. Okay, so that can get into kind of dangerous territory. When I was in marching band, like that's kind of how we did it. It was like we thought we were better than everybody else, even though we kind of were. So we kind of did things very separately from the rest of the ensemble. We always like to distance ourselves for saying stuff like the band sucks, but the drumline is awesome, and all that stuff. In retrospect, I don't think it was a good thing. I don't think that's the way to go, because you want to be unified within the entire ensemble. Just like hey, we should all kind of be unified as a human species, but that's another video. Anyway, so the point is, I think that, building unity within your section is a good thing. Building unity between, different groups, freshmen and sophomores and, juniors, whatever, right? That's all good, right? I think that, it helps to create different relationships where, you're expanding out of your own little bubble and you're creating friends, in different sections. That's cool, right? Not even, and maybe it's, within the school, too, right? Don't just stay within, your group of friends within band, explore other relationships with other people who have nothing to do with band, right? That's a good thing too. But I think that practicing the act of unity and having camaraderie and having building these relationships within your different groups and ensembles is a good thing, different sections, right? So saxophones hyping together, flutes hyping together, drumline hyping together, bass drums hyping together, stuff like that, right? And that's another important thing too, right? It's bass drums are probably the closest knit group in any ensemble because they're playing one part, right? And it's they're literally 4, 5, 6 people, separate people who have to come together to create one part, right? And they have to be so in sync to make that happen, to be a good section, right? So one of the ways that they can work cohesively and play cohesively is to always hang out with each other, always be together, and just building that relationship, that personal relationship together. They should literally be the closest group in the entire drum line. I've heard this from many bass drummers over the years, is that the bass drum line needs to be close personally in order for them to play cohesively well in an ensemble. Does that make sense, right? So I think unity is definitely a good thing. I think that building that relationship within your section is a good thing as well. Just don't let it get too overboard. Just don't think we're just within our little bubble, we're just within our little circle, and that's it. Nobody else is allowed, right? I'm not gonna have friends with anybody else. Don't think like that, okay? So it should serve a greater purpose overall. As far as creating unity within your section. So always have that in mind. Okay, so how do you build unity and that camaraderie within your own section, right? So it's saxophones, trumpets, tubas, how do you build that tight-knit group within that section, right? One of the ways to build relationships in general in life is that, you have to build trust and comfort, okay? And trust and comfort is built over time, and it's built through experiences, right? So it's like, if you are hanging out with somebody and then, you hang out with them long enough and you do enough things with them, eventually they become like a close friend of yours, right? So it's like, that relationship, that time spent together is built by the fact that, you guys are like, seeing different, like you guys are in different places like together, right? And you're experiencing those things together, right? So if you guys go to an ice cream parlor or something like that, and you have this experience where like, you saw some chicken, like getting chased by a dog, I don't know, right? And you're just like, what? That's funny, okay? And you have that experience together, like that brings you closer together. Does that make sense, right? So that experience, that creates a bond, okay? So like one of the things I suggest as far as like building that camaraderie is do stuff together, right? So if you are a section, like, snare drums, tenor drums, saxophones, like I said, I keep mentioning them, you could go hang out places, right? Like you can go have dinner somewhere, you can go have lunch together, you guys can go hang out at the park, you guys can go play some video games, I don't know, right? Have some sectionals, right? That's huge, okay? And anytime you have those experiences where you're doing something together, that builds that bond, that builds that relationship, that builds situations where you have to kind of trust each other, right? A simple thing as far as like how to build trust is like, hey, let's meet together at 3 o'clock, and everybody's there at 3 o'clock. So it's like you trusted people to be there at 3, right? And then people are trusting you to be there at 3, and if everybody's there at 3, then it's like, okay, that trust is built because like, I trusted you to be there, you were there, so you have earned my trust, right? So trust, right? Comfort, okay? Comfort in, being together all the time, right? Knowing that, you're not some crazy person, okay? Like when you know more about each other, like, like talk to each other, like learn, create, like you learn more about the other person. So it's like you can learn, number one, to not just trust them, but also build comfort, right? It's like you're more comfortable with this person because you know them more. You have experienced things with them. You know what they're like. You know that they're not crazy. You know that they're not a bad person. That builds comfort, right? That builds trust. And when those things are built up, relationships are built. Relationships are created even stronger, and that is how you can build camaraderie. Okay, another thing is like, I think I mentioned the word hype, right? So like hype together, right? So like maybe like some little hypes where like, one day all the tenor drums wear the same socks. I don't know, right? It could be something weird and small, but it creates like a connection, right? It's like we're all doing the same thing, like we're all hyping on the same thing, like, like pink socks, like we're all gonna wear it one day, and it's like, and it's a hype, right? So it's like that experience, right, brings you together. You trust that the other people are gonna, the other individuals in your section are gonna wear pink socks one day, and they come through, and then that builds trust, right? So all these things create a relationship, right? They build a relationship, and when that happens, you create a bond that's pretty strong. Okay, so that's another way, right? So it's like hypes, hanging out together, hanging out. Like speaking of hanging out, like when you're on the bus together, you can like sit on the bus together, like sit on the same spot places. Like bass drums like to they like to hang out in the back of the bus. Like, I don't know, this is something I've kind of noticed, like, with bass drums, like they just like to hang out in the back of the bus. So that's one thing you can do, right? Another thing you can do is, from a instructor or a director standpoint, is like you can have contests, right? It's like little games, and then just kind of like have people compete against each other and come together that way, because it's like now they're like, oh, okay, we got to win it for the snares, we got to win it for the bass drums, we got to win it for the flutes, whatever, right? And that builds, connection, that builds comfort, that builds trust. Okay, so contests, little games, during, like, you don't have to rehearse all the time, right? So maybe set aside an hour, like the last day of band camp, something like that, and like create these games where sections have to go against each other, and then they have to work together to win together. Does that make sense, right? So that's how you build community, not community, well, yeah, it is like little communities, but that's how you build these relationships within the ensemble that makes the entire ensemble stronger. Does that make sense? Okay, so cool. Hopefully you guys got something out of this video. If you guys want to build relationships within your marching band or drumline, that's how I would go about doing things. Try that out and see if that works out. Let me know how it goes, okay? So hopefully you guys liked this video. If you did, do me a huge favor, hit that like button down below. If you have any questions or comments, leave that in the comments below as well. If you guys have not subscribed yet, after I told you to subscribe, make sure you subscribe right now, okay? Otherwise, you guys should totally watch more of my videos by clicking over here and then subscribe over here. Peace. Catch you guys on the next video.